you have it. Cheers coming from outside the courthouse as a guilty verdict came down for the first time in our nation's history against a former president. A New York jury found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records. Sources tell ABC News Trump's team wasn't surprised by the verdict, but was surprised at how quickly it came. ABC's Andrew Dimbert reports.
Former President Trump left a fundraiser in New York last night, hours after the historic verdict. A supporter in the crowd urging him to fight.
Never surrender!
One person at the fundraiser describing Trump as fired up. His lead attorney, meanwhile, hit the airwaves, vowing to vigorously appeal the conviction.
At the end of the day, there were key decisions made before the trial started and during the trial that I don't want to use a fair or unfair, but that we think were not consistent with the law.
A jury found Trump guilty on all 34 counts, convicting him of falsifying business records to keep a payment to porn actress Stormy Daniels secret from voters before the 2016 election. Now Trump faces a sentence that could range from probation to up to 4 years behind bars, but prison time is considered highly unlikely. The judge scheduled sentencing for July 11th, 4 days before the Republican National Convention. Experts say Trump is unlikely to see any punishment before the November election because the appeals process could take several months.
It doesn't mean he's actually serving the sentence immediately after the sentencing. They could actually delay that as they appeal it and potentially not have to serve the sentence until after the election.
Trump's team could take multiple avenues with their appeal. They could take issue with the pre-trial, publicly arguing it tainted the jury. They could argue that the jury should have been sequestered during the trial, and they'll likely point out that Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg, a state-level prosecutor, was enforcing federal election law, questioning his authority to even bring the case.
And while this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case.
Bragg upgraded the charges in this case to felonies, saying he believed Trump also broke election laws by falsifying financial documents, which Trump was unaware of until the trial started. If Trump loses his expected appeal, Judge Merchan will have broad discretion over this sentence, factoring in everything from Trump's age, his lack of a criminal record, and Trump's conduct during the trial. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
As soon as a verdict was reached, crowds gathered outside Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. People waved signs and flags showing their support for the former president. But some supporters and opponents alike say the jury's decision doesn't impact how they feel about the presumptive Republican nominee.
It doesn't affect it in one way at all. Nothing. There's no thought process. We're voting for President Trump. That's it. Done.
I was not voting for him. I didn't vote for him in the past. I think he's a despicable human being. A jury of his peers found him guilty.
This morning, the former president is set to speak at 11 a.m. about the guilty verdict. It'll be his first scheduled speech as a convicted felon. See Trump's reaction in real time by watching us on air or streaming on WHAS11.com. Back to some local news now. With a rate hike on the way, some MSD customers are hoping the money goes to curbing the strong odors sometimes plaguing the city's sewer system. Louisville MSD board recently approved a new preliminary budget plan that happened on Tuesday. It includes a 6.9% rate increase for Jefferson and Oldham County residents, which would take effect August 1st. It's expected to tack on about $5 to some monthly bills. We spoke with a customer in Fairdale who says he doesn't mind the hike if it means more attention on sewage smells.
Sometimes it smells straight up like a trash can, and in others it smells just like sewer. But I wouldn't mind paying a little extra to if problems got fixed, if the drainage got to be a whole lot better.
The executive director of MSD says lots of improvements are needed to repair aging sewers, increase flood protection, and improve the drainage system. But fixing the odor issue is top of mind.
We're putting capital dollars in our budget to make sure we can do more like catch basin repairs and do more chemical addition stations and those type of things. There's other projects now that are going to be pushed out, but we've prioritized odor mitigation for the next 2 years.
The MSD board will take a final vote on the rate proposal in July. A Louisville attorney is sounding off on the city's handling of the Scotty Scheffler case. This comes as a letter is circulating on social media appearing to be a response from the officer involved. Attorney Thomas Clay has represented dozens of police officers. He says the 12-day saga of the Scheffler case is another hit to LMPD and the city's credibility. After the charges were dropped in the case, the arresting officer, Detective Brian Gillis, appeared to release a statement on social media. In it, he thanked the pro golfer for his demeanor, pushed back on the defense's claim that he wasn't dragged, and joked about the $80 pants he said were ruined in the incident. Clay says the letter clearly shows a glaring problem with Gillis.
There's a basic failure to accept responsibility for his violations of LMPD policy and procedures, the violation of his training that he received before he became an officer and his continuing training when he became an officer, and the fact that this individual committed no crime whatsoever.
LMPD says it knows of the letter's existence, but said it's unable to offer any additional comment. The incident and resulting scrutiny come as the city negotiates with the U.S. Department of Justice on the federal consent decree to reform LMPD. The DOJ's report from March of last year found routine policy violations in the department and Metro government. Councilmember Shamika Parrish-Wright is now proposing Metro Council be more involved in those negotiations. A new resolution from Parrish-Wright mirrors the People's Consent Decree, a document from community groups listing what they would like to see in the DOJ agreement.
I want the police to be well trained, well paid, have the resources they need, have the financial stability that they need to help them do their jobs. But we have to hold the truth that I do not want Louisvillians to suffer from violence, from abuse, from having their human rights violated.
The councilwoman says she plans to have the first reading of the resolution proposal at the Metro Council meeting next Thursday.